Hi guys, welcome back to Marant's Rants. Plenty of good information, a little bit of motivation, a whole lot of truth, no financial advice. So some of you guys are messaging me and asking me how I can break down the charting and why it's wrong for some of the individuals out there in YouTube who are using linear charts versus log charts, right? Well, I'm going to show you the best way I can. This is certainly for this week. I know a lot of people were hyped up about a prediction that we were going to hit all-time highs, hit 140s, and try to give you a timeline for it. It wouldn't even matter the timeline because what I had come out and said was the chart is wrong. But individuals kind of got it in a flash as I did it, so I'm going to slow down a little bit here, and then I'll explain to you exactly what you can predict what's coming moving forward. A couple of things that you can't predict, just so we're clear. You can't predict catalysts, right? These events that are coming up. We can predict what APE was. We could predict what the vote is going to do and allow it to do, as in dilute the float and manipulate the number. But you can never predict something like the impact that an earnings statement might have and or forward business statements, like what they have coming forward. So when the December 22nd announcement came out, and you heard Antera was going to buy a portion of this company, and how Adam Aaron failed to raise the funds the right way, it kind of was a slap in the face to retail, to the investor, because from an investor standpoint, the CEO of AMC has done absolutely nothing in the positive over the last 7 years to actually get this company to make a profit and or head in the right direction. It's done more of smoke and mirrors. Like, this is what we're going to try to do. We'll see how this works out, and then does the complete worst decision possible on every single one. It's almost like a junkie telling you that, like, hey, I'm going to go to rehab, I'm going to get better, but then right when he's ready to go, he does the wrong thing. And I'm sorry to trivialize it that way, but it's just the only rationale I can come up with at the moment. But here you go. So, and we might be the junkies, right? I mean, the whole world here just thinking that this is going to play out the way it is. Let's go and draw a line. So this is a linear chart. And as you know, linear charts are everything is created equal. So that's why you use linear charts on a smaller time scale. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. Watch this. So if you go here, and this is a smaller time scale, okay? This is kind of why... okay, we're good. Okay. So this is why you were able to predict that AMC would have a breakout, was because of this time scale here. You had this one at all-time lows, and you had to go through. So this is where Ant Trades really comes in, with his theory of, hey, it hit, it retracted, and then it broke through. And that's the breakthrough of last week. And then, of course, crumbling down because, like I said, it was a pump for Monday just for options play. And it happens all the time with this stock if you've been studying it for, the last 2 years. So this linear chart will show you that that's a breakout. And linear charts are used for, I would tell you, typically under 30 days. But anyone who's in the TA game, they know if they're ever going to use large-scale time frame, let's say a year, a month, 2 months, and then, of course, 2 years, you have to use log because percentages matter. And the percentage of increase, remember that linear charts are just like crazy line charts, okay? Like, think about it like that. Like, this chart is meant to give a roller coaster ride, but to go from the bottom of what would have been of like a $7 time frame, which we know that was actually pre-split, so it was like $11, $12, jump all the way up to 72, it's a drastic increase. But that drastic run you see there can't be mimicked in this chart because everything is even. All things are even. So that's why you really can't tell the distinctive difference between these compressed lines when you're looking at linear charts. So what you do is you go to logarithmic charting. When you go to logarithmic charting, they actually take into consideration percentages changed. So you'll see a lot from the 0 to 10 price range, right? The 0 to 10 percentage changes. But then from 10 to 20, it gets smaller. It gets skewed as it goes through because you have to take that into consideration. So when you see those peaks and you see those breakouts, they will be magnified. They will be, but they're going to be compared justly, not the reverse. So if you look on the small time scale, look at this. You will see there is a potential breakout available to you because that's what was retested and came back to. This is why it works in weeks at a time of looking at your stock. But if you're going for a 2-year chart on this, you're going to go ahead, guys, and this would be your 2-year trend line for AMC. You can go here and you can touch. And as you touch, it's been touched in the past. The problem is there is no potential breakout coming anytime soon. So this is why you have to say now there will be a sideways day or whatever it may be. You might get a run on a stock anytime soon or not. But from the catalysts that are happening, from the events that are happening with the company, the 8K that got released yesterday, and I don't care how people try to spin it right now. I know the Marine's pretty upset. I saw one of his videos about what Adam Aaron's about to do to you guys. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm equally as upset. I've been upset since it all started. But while everyone was giving him praise, I was over here, the guy in the corner saying, please don't give him praise. He's not trying to do what's right for you. But this chart is then spelled out like this. And I'm going to show you because this is a trend line for ant trades. So he drew this trend line as in to say they were going to break out. His trend line's way down here because he shows some level of support. But if he's way down here, how much lower can it go? It can go a lot lower, guys. This stock can go a lot lower. I'm not going to draw the line because I'm drawing this top trend line so you guys can see once I hit on the linear chart, you'll see how far you really are. That's how far you really are on the stock. That's the correct trend line. The one that he drew for himself and Max and everyone else that's been out there, this is the line that he drew. And in his head, this was the correct line. And he was telling you, hey guys, guess what? This is going to bust through. We're going to break out. We're going to go to all-time highs. Now, it's very irresponsible for him to tell you that, or to go with his fractal theory, whatever the hell it's called, to tell you that this is where it's going because give you a timeline. And if it doesn't stick to that timeline, then it doesn't exist, right? But more so than that, look at this linear chart. Look how far off it is from the logarithmic charting from the first line that we drew. So when you draw it this way, you just got to know it's the wrong line. So all the videos or all the information any YouTuber is going to give you after that fact where they say, well, next week we're going to stay out of we're not going to fall back into this wedge. Well, it was an imaginary wedge. You built it yourself. It's not a real wedge. You cannot use this run up previous in January because it's not the same scale. It's just not that way. You can't go from $1 to $15 and think that a 1,500% increase is the same as what your support would be, and you're going to jump up another 1,500% on the next rip. It doesn't work that way. It's just math, man. But we'll look at it. I'll hang out with you guys forever, but it's never going to do the things that someone's telling you. And it doesn't have to fall back down, okay, just so we're clear. It doesn't have to fall back down underneath this wedge to reconfirm that it's in a bearish trap or whatever. There is nothing bullish about this chart. This is a failed chart, and it's going to continue to pump and dump the way it is. I think what happened, Adam Aaron saw the numbers this week, and he was like, man, I got to go get it. I got to go out there, give away some ape, and raise some more money, because if he's raising cash right now, it's going to help his bonuses out. It's not going to help his company out. This company's going to burn through all this cash this year. So you'll see more dilution and you'll see more of everything. But if you were really in it for the squeeze, if you're really in it for those things, you'd vote no. You'd vote no on the vote, but that's another video. I'm just showing you the TA of it all. And, there is a report out there. This thing, it's awesome. It says the first is to respond to skewedness towards large values in cases in which a few points are much larger than the bulk of the data. You see, when one of the numbers is much larger than the bulk of the data, you go ahead and use a logarithmic chart, because if you use, I'll show you right here, watch this. You see this dot chart? You see how everything's the same? They all look the same, they're just all, and what it really is it's showing you from 0 to 100 million, that's how much the revenues were for these companies, or 100 billion, I'm sorry. And all these companies were in line, but they look so close to each other because the bulk of the chart information is that Walmart's is way up here. So your scale is going to be skewed, and your scale is going to be skewed because you have Walmart way up here, and you can't really distinguish what's from 0 to 100 million because that bigger number overtakes the whole chart. That's the difference whenever you're looking at a chart like this. This bigger number takes over the rest of this chart, doesn't really give it its value. That's why when you go to logarithmic trading, they actually use percentages. And so the bigger number does not take away from the rest of this value. They all stand within the percentage range that they're in. That's why this big square here exists. These bigger squares represent 10%, and then 10% and 10%, which would then in turn be 100, right? 100% increase from the previous section to the next if you guys are tracking. If you're not tracking, it's okay. If this is all Spanish to you, it's okay. But this is for the TA guys who, if you've been doing TA for 2 years, you're not using linear charts. That's it. And I know I said this in a flash earlier this week, but People keep seeing the videos and then they keep asking me, Marantz, what the hell is he talking about? And I go, yeah, well, he drew the first line. He didn't understand the second line. So you can draw this linear line and you can think that all the TA is going to matter. The only thing that's going to matter is in the short term, right? Because you're looking at it in a short term, and that's where those charts matter. So you did get a technical breakout, but what you currently have right now is going to be a sideways pattern. I told you won't peak past $6. I'm a firm believer in that, all because of the DR that exists. And your peak, now your new peak, won't go past 750. It's not going to happen. So get ready for what's coming, which is going to happen in March. This whole month is going to be a bloodbath. It's unfortunate, and but that's the gist of it, man. If you guys really know what's the chart you're looking at and why it matters, there's plenty of articles out there that explain to you logarithmic versus linear. I've been reading them all week just to get a little bit better at it and understand. But if we were all going to start charting, this is not a chart you buy into. This is not a company you want to have. So I would ask you guys to do some due diligence, read into some of these filings that are being released. But that's an update on the TA of AMC and where it's going to go. Practically nowhere. So good luck, guys. Peace.